White? White Kid Fro. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, White Kid Fro.
What's our intro? That one was really good.
Really good.
That was the best intro we've ever done. We're just gonna cut that and put it at the beginning of every video.
Yeet!
Okay, so Spooky Bitches are back this week, and we're back with another weird Michael.
I'm starting to figure out something to say and I couldn't do it. So this time we're getting messages from Michael.
We're getting messages.
We're getting messages from Michael.
We have come upon a website.
Quite the Wikipedia article.
Quite the Wikipedia article.
This is how it started.
Yes.
How did it start? Okay, so we somehow got to Ed and Lorraine Warren's Wikipedia page.
So, I had not researched any articles for this week's video, and I was just not ready to go. So I have notes of a couple cases I want to cover, and some of them are cases that Ed and Lorraine Warren have covered.
Oh, yes, and that's how we got to their page.
So we went in their Wikipedia.
And it said, there was something like series of articles about the paranormal, so we clicked on that, and it brought us to this like wiki list page, and it had a bunch of like paranormal kind of situation articles. So we found this one called, what was the actual title of it?
It was
The
Michael
Michael Teachings. And we were like, what the fuck is that?
It was just so intriguing.
Intriguing.
I don't know why I started with a C. So we've decided to start a series on this channel. In addition to Spook Ed, now we'll have weird websites. Because there's a lot of them.
There are many.
And we're in tune to them.
We are. We just kind of come upon them.
We really do. We have interesting internet history.
We do.
So here we are this week, ready to talk to you about the messages from Michael.
The Michael Teachings, the whole thing about it, it started in 1979, or no,
Early
it started
70s.
in the early 1970s in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it was this group of people who were trying to make contact with the other side through a Ouija board, and they got quite a bit more than they bargained for.
So basically, a group of friends had all gotten together and they were playing around with the Ouija board, and they,
As one does,
as we do, and they connected to something that called itself Michael. And they communicated with Michael through this Ouija board until eventually they graduated to like automatic writing and channeling.
Yeah, they haven't used the Ouija board in the past, I think, like 10 years.
It's been a while. And Michael, it said, was a collective group of beings that have gone through their reincarnations of life but retain the knowledge of life. And they are sharing how the universe works and how life works with these people for no other reason than just to share it.
I know exactly what you're thinking, because I thought the same exact thing.
What?
What?
But, hear me out. Hear us out.
Notes of fruit, floral, and nut?
In my butt?
What? I know what you're thinking. You're safe.
In full-on contact realness, Michael is an entity that they're just speaking with, and he's just sharing what he has to say because he has to say it.
All of the knowledge that he's retained from his incarnations, or because it's a group.
Yeah.
From their incarnations and their reincarnations and all of their life knowledge, they're sharing with the people that they have made contact with through the Ouija board, automatic writing, and all of that.
And I will say that there's actually a YouTuber, I'll probably link him below, he's called Telltale, and he does a lot of videos on cult mindsets, and so I've been really into that lately. I've always been really into cults and how they work, but I will say that this strikes me as different than a cult purely because the mindset is not focused on worship or control, and it's kind of just take it or leave it.
It strikes me more as a religion, to be honest.
But also, this is something that their website has pointed out many times, how it's take it or leave it. It's not follow the strict rules of religion, which does make it seem not culty, but to point it out also makes it seem like covering your bases, so then when it starts being culty, you're like, no. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. So the basics, we're gonna just say the basics because
It's complicated.
fucking get it, to be honest with you.
It's
Very, very complicated. We have watered this down so much.
But it's so interesting, we could not pass it up.
No, it was far too intriguing to not do research on it.
And we'll link everything so you can do your own research if
Yeah,
this does.
so you can read it and be as confused as me. So, there's 7 basic, they call them essences, and they're basically different personality types. And whichever one you are in your first carnation, that's what you are through all of them. You're never different, you are always that one. So, from, I don't want to say lowest to highest, but,
it's just in an order of how quickly they come into their own.
yeah, they call it coming into their own. I don't quite know exactly what that means.
I took it as meaning like come to be this full
To be,
realization.
yeah, it's kind of like self-actualization.
Yeah, but it's not described fully. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's so many more readings than what we have. They have books. We are just taking this from the website.
Yeah, and we're interpreting it how we interpret it. That's what we're gonna give you.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like this is the least and this is the most important essence. It's just
This is the order.
this
that
is the
they're in.
order that they've put them in. So it starts with slave, then artisan, warrior, scholar, sage, priest, and king. And all of those incarnations go through 5 lives. There is infant, again in order, infant, baby, young, mature, and old. And then after they've gone through those 5, they continue on to the astral plane into an astral life, and then a causal life, which is the highest like form of self-actualization.
That's where you get, and
That's
I think
where
you stay.
Yeah, that's where you stay once you've gone through all of your 5 lives and the astral life. You're on the causal plane, and that's where you are. Each essence comes into their own in a different cycle, like the infant, baby, young, mature, and old, astral, and causal. So slaves come into their own in the infant stage. Slaves are the first to kind of be fully self-actualized. That's how I'm
Yeah, we're
gonna
not.
take it. We're not really sure. There's a lot to read. We haven't, there's a lot there. So this is just how
This is
we took it.
baseline as you can get.
Yes. So slaves are the essences that come into their own the fastest. They're servants of the people, not actual like slaves, but they're more like I'm gonna compare them to like nursing home workers.
Yeah.
Like nursing home people. Like they care about others and they want to, they want to serve other people. Not like a waitress. But like they want to give back.
Like how politicians are supposed to be a servant of the people.
Exactly. But they're not.
Artisans, who artisans are the people that like they crave and want to create structure throughout their lives, and they want people to respond to their structure. And I'm sure everybody knows a person like that.
Yeah.
And artisans, their goal, well, not their goal in life, but like what their lives are supposed to teach them is that they can create balance without creating structure, and that structure doesn't need to be there for it to be a complete and solid life.
Right.
And these, they come into their own in the baby stage. So in their second reincarnation, they've come into their own.
Yeah. And the third essence after artisan is the warrior. They are the ones who are loyal, dutiful, respectful. They're more of like they do stuff. They have to be like doing stuff, like physically with their body, and not so much mental workout, but physical workout. They're athletes basically. their success comes from their physical being and things they can do. Why am I having such a difficult time with this?
It's funny concept.
It is a funny concept. It's like an Olympic athlete.
Or
they get like medals and they get ribbons and they're rewarded for the things that they do with their body.
And then there's scholars who, they're more people that are seeking to learn and to have knowledge. And what they want to achieve and what they want to learn is that knowing is not the same thing as understanding. And they really come about like taking things from the world and like putting together their knowledge. And they will come into their own in the 4th stage, which is mature. When they're mature, they're ready.
That one's the most kind of self-explanatory
Yeah.
with the name of the essence, because the scholar is obviously all about learning and knowledge and all of that. So that was kind of the easiest. 5th essence is the sage, not the herb.
It's a sage.
A sage. It's not the plant. Their whole thing is based on performance. So they're going to be kind of fueled by recognition from others for things they've done, what they do, and communication. So they're talking,
Chatting. Priests, they're like the priests. They're focused on like spiritual validation and higher powers and connection to those things, and they don't come into their own until the astral cycle. So they don't come in any cycle of life with a physical being. They're more like once you get out there, which makes sense because their whole thing is spiritual validation and understanding the higher power.
Yeah. The 7th and final essence is the king, and they're all about they don't come into their own until the causal plane, so they have to go through all 7 of their lives and all 7 of the cycles to get to the self-actualization level of it. So they give a mandate in life, which is determined by whatever the king determines it to be. Whatever they feel that it is, that's what it is. It is what it is. You feel me? They find it difficult to complete their life tasks and goals without validation from others. They can do it, it's just far more difficult because they need the support of others, beneath them to kind of rise them up to the level of, getting to where they want to be.
I will say, one of the things is that it's not really a concept of beneath.
Yeah.
It's like just different like roles.
Yeah. It's not like one is better than the other. It's just these are the levels.
Yeah.
And they're all, it's like a number line. It's not a scale, it's a number line.
And one thing they said was that like even though if you're a scholar, you're a scholar every single time. If you're a scholar on your first life, you're a scholar with some attributes of the slave essence. Or if you're a scholar in your 6th life, you're a scholar with attributes of the priest's essence. And it's like, it's very different depending on which stage you're at. And then they also have a concept of karma, but it's like big leagues karma. So you can owe karma or be owed karma. So like if you are a victim of a murder or something that like seriously robs your liberties, you're owed karma for your next life. But if you are the committer of the murderer, I don't know why I said that in such a roundabout way.
You went all the way around it and then finally got there.
If you're the murderer, you owe karma and your next life will be the comeuppance for that.
Yeah. So it's not like
the little one.
It's not like what we think of as karma. Like if you like talk shit about somebody, something like that is gonna happen to you because of that. It's not like little like instances of karma. It's like big things that'll affect your next lives. Like karma to me, it doesn't affect your other lives. It just affects what happens now. But what the Michael teachings say is that karma is big and it's universal.
And there is like a smaller form of karma.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a smaller give and take within the life rather than this karma, which is incarnational.
Yep.
That's a word.
There you go.
Putting that in the dictionary.
Putting that in the Webster.
In the astral plane, because the astral and the causal plane are obviously the ones that we don't have any familiarity with.
Mm-hmm.
The astral plane, it's sort of like ghosts. I mean, the website specifically says they're not like ghosts because it says that the astral plane has a consciousness and ghosts don't. But I personally would disagree that ghosts have no consciousness.
Have consciousness.
So it's like a ghost that can be called to a form that can be seen in the physical plane, but they don't live in the physical plane.
Yeah.
And the causal plane is then like completely out. That's where you reconnect because all the beings of one essence will come together into an entity, I think is what it...
Yeah.
All the beings come together into one. So like as you're living your life, you're by yourself, but then you come into one in the causal plane, and that is where Michael is, and that's where they're like giving all of this information from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. This one was wild. This one's very hard to batten down, but I do think it's really interesting, and I mean, there's lots of cases of reincarnation that are really credible. Like that one kid, I think Kendall Ray talked about it, but that one kid who like remembered being an airplane pilot and like remembered exactly where he died.
You know what my favorite one is? The twins. The twin girls.
Maybe?
Husband and wife, and their two twin girls went on a trip. They got into a car accident. The
Yes.
twins died.
I
Then they had another set of twin girls. They remembered everything up until the age that the other twin girls died. Everything, like, they had ended up moving after the first set of girls died because it was hard for them to be in the same area. But they had taken the girls, the second set of twins, back to where they had lived to show them around, and they had remembered basically everything about it. And they were, like, telling stories about things that they had done as a family that they obviously could have never experienced because they were not alive. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one.
There's so many cases of this, and I think we should do a video on it.
We should.
But, like, reincarnation is pretty credible. I mean, there's some shit. And I mean, maybe it's not as strict and rigid as this is, but...
Probably not. But
it's
still
worth it.
interesting to think about.
Yeah, it's worth it to look into.
The more you know.
The more you know. That's the Spooky Bitches for this week.
We out.